What's up, ladies and gentlemen? How are you all doing today? Welcome back to another episode of Phenomenal Views. I'm your host, Nick Smith, and this is my review for episode 2 of season 2 of Gotham, called Knock Knock. This was an intense episode, everybody. I mean, my gosh. I had to stop parts of this episode just to take a break from how intense it is. And in the first season, where I was not sure how the kid who was playing the Joker would do, holy crap has that changed, because this kid is perfect. I mean, my gosh. There's 2 intense scenes in this episode. And the kid who is playing the Joker plays them perfectly to a T. I am terrified of this kid. I mean, kids are creepy in general, but this guy's playing the Joker. He's doing a phenomenal job. Props. The actor's name, I do not know his name, but props, kid. I look forward to seeing how much more misery you are going to cause in this show. Whew. Okay, so basically, this episode, there's a reason I call it Knock Knock. But this episode starts off with Bruce and Alfred actually in the cave, and Alfred keeps, like, there's a big hint on Alfred because of where Alfred had a secret and dangerous life. You wonder, is Alfred really telling the truth to Bruce? Even though he says that he's not lying, but could he possibly be lying because he's wanting to protect Bruce? And when Bruce is hooking up all his computers, trying to figure out what his dad was like, Alfred just goes crazy and beats the computers with a sledgehammer, and Bruce gets so distraught, and it makes you feel like maybe Alfred does know something and he doesn't want Bruce to know about it. But then he says, look, you're too young to deal with this kind of stuff. It got your father killed. I'm just trying to protect you. I do not want the same thing happening to you. He's basically saying that he's playing suicide. He's playing with something that could easily get him killed because of what happened last time when Selena Kyle... He doesn't bring up Selena Kyle, but it made me think of when she was at the mansion and assassins were actually looking for her. And just how people have came after Bruce before, because where he has been diving into stuff about his father's past. So Alfred is just trying to protect him, but Bruce is like, Alfred, look, you're fired. And I was like, no, do not, oh, come on! I was like, do not fire Alfred, he's such a good character. We do actually get some more good moments with Jim and Harvey, who Jim knows how Harvey is, and Harvey was always able to help him with the case. So he actually goes to the bar that he runs, and he's actually trying to talk to Harvey to try to get him to come back to the force. But his fiance is basically Scott. She's basically like, he's done. He has a life now. He doesn't have to go back to it. And Jim's basically like, okay, you know what, she's right. I was going to ask you, and I know that the answer's no. And he's like, I've got a life now. I don't need to do that anymore. And Jim goes up to the commissioner, and he's like, he said no. And she's like, but we need him because he was a cop. He was one of the best, and he's born to be a cop. And this actually brings some very good moments between Jim and the commissioner, because they talk about, the commissioner's like, have you ever thought about leaving this job? And he's like, no, I couldn't do it. And she's like, and he asks her the same thing, and she's like, I thought about it. But now that she's the commissioner, she refuses to, because she said, I have seen old, washed up, corrupt officers come in and out of this place, and I refuse to let that ever happen again. And it's some good character moment talking about how we are who we are. We can't, like, they talk about how no matter how hard you fight it, you are who you are. And the reason why this episode is so cringing is because there is a lot of scenes that involve the Joker, like I said earlier. Jim brings up all the people that are in this group. We have the Joker. We have a guy who murdered his whole family. We have a fat cannibal who ate women. We have this other crazy guy, and then we have Barbara. And he's like basically briefing up all the cops on who these people are, what they did. And then it actually cuts to this guy who is basically trying to control Gotham, but he's trying to do it. It shows like him torturing the mayor to where he's only going to get out of this in 2 ways. And he kind of puts the mayor in this saw head trap thing. Like, kind of. He's got him in this box and he's getting whipped and he's like, option A, I put a tarantula in your helmet and it kills you. Or option B, you call a secretary, tell you that you've run off with a lover and such and such. And he's basically wanting to, he says Gotham needs to be cleansed, but he's trying to do it through fear. He says that Gotham needs to be cleansed with blood and fire. And so it's him we see interaction with all the crazy people, and like Joker and the cannibal guy are fighting each other, or they're sparring, they're having fun with a samurai sword and a chainsaw, and they're basically going back and forth. Like the cannibal's like, I ate 6 women, kid. What did you do? Kill your mother? And he's like, someone's got to start somewhere. And so it's like, we need to settle this feud. So they decide to play a game of Russian roulette, and this is the most intense thing of Russian roulette I have ever seen. I give props to them creating the scene because it was so full of intensity. It was so suspenseful. So like the guy, he lets the cannibal go first, pulls the trigger, and he's like, "You want to know the true way to good comedy? Timing." And then he does it again, and it was like, oh my gosh, this is scary as crap. And then he does it again, and then he's like, who's the boss? I'm the boss. I had to stop the episode because of how intense this was. I was like, woohoo! I had to sit down and take a drink because this was so intense. Oh my gosh. Woo-wee. And so we get more talk between Alfred and Bruce. And Alfred is getting on a plane, is going to go to a train station, and Bruce eventually joins him, and he's like, he doesn't want Alfred to leave, but he's like, look, you're not gonna stop me from doing what I need to do. I want to find out what my father is like, and I want to find out. He's wanting to bring Gotham back into the light, and he's starting with the GCPD. But Alfred's basically still saying, you're too young, you need to wait until you're older to do this. And Bruce is like, I don't want you to come back. I'll even start going back to school. So Alfred's like, okay, I'll help you on one condition. You do everything I say and when I say it. And Bruce is like, okay, I have a condition. You have to fix my dad's computer. And he's like, how am I supposed to do that? That's not my problem. You're the one who broke it. Which that was a little funny moment between them. And then we actually get another cool scene with Alfred going to a bar and meeting with Lucius Fox, and him telling a story about how he thinks there's 2 types of people. One, where you can trust them, or 2, where you cannot. And he's asking because he knows how Lucius was with Mr. Wayne. And he's like, I need you to help me. Can I trust you? And he's like, I only want what's best for Mr. Wayne. And he's like, let me just tell you this. If I cannot trust you, he's basically saying, I'm going to hurt you if you endanger Bruce. And he's like, understood. Next, another impactful scene that happened with Joker being the leader, that I was like, Joker sitting in this truck, and he's like, I spy with my little eye something yellow. And I was like, oh no, oh no. And it was a bus full of cheerleaders. I was like, oh my gosh, what are you going to do? And they have a oil truck, and he stops the bus, gets in the bus, and sprays all these teens with gasoline. And he starts like, give me an O. And they won't do it, so he fires the gun. And he's like, give me an O. Oh, give me a W. Give me another O. Give me an N. I don't remember what it spelled out. But this kid I am terrified of. And even in the beginning of the episode that he was, in the beginning scene he was in, it shows them throwing people off of a balcony, each getting sprayed with letters, and it spells out maniacs. And he would go like, wait a minute, a little to the left, there you go. Would you please be a dear and take care of this for me? I was like, my gosh, this guy is the Joker. And so we get a we get more stuff actually from the Riddler about how he actually tries once again to ask out Miss Kringle, but he can't. Instead, he kind of creeps her out with, like, asking her. He's like, can I ask you something? Did you know such and such? It was about insects or something. And so he's like, we agreed we were going to ask her out. We agreed we were going to ask her out. And so then he starts talking to himself, and his self talks back, and he's like, she wouldn't like you. She'd probably like me. She would definitely like me. And he starts screaming at himself, saying, you stay away from her. You stay away from her. And he's trying to protect her from himself, practically. And someone walks in on him talking to himself, and he just looks at him. He's like, hey, what's up? More intensity, because, you know, this episode will not let you breathe. Actually, they do, but for only like a couple seconds. Because it's intensity, breathe, intensity, breathe, intensity, more intensity. They just slap intensity, intensity, and it is great. I'm starting to get afraid of the show. Barbara ends up calling Jim, and he's trying to basically talk to her. He's like, look, I can help you. You're not a crazy person. You know, you're sick. You know, you're not what you think you are. And she's like, she's in the GCPD, and she lures him out to where he gets beaten up by her bodyguard pretty much. And she's like, you're wrong, Jim. I'm not crazy. I'm free. Well, I'd like to talk to you, but who knows what could have happened while you were gone. Gotta go. And she kisses him, and she's got blood on her mouth. I was like, my gosh, this chick is crazy. And then Jim comes back, and we get some one-on-one time with Joker and the Commissioner, and these two worked really well off of each other. Like, she spits in his face, and he's like, that was surprisingly pleasant. Do it again. It's like, oh. I know I've said it, I'm going to say it again. This kid is a child prodigy of the frickin' Joker. Once again, brilliant. Brilliantly done. My friend Dustin and I love what they're doing with this kid. And I wrote something interesting in my notes. When she's like, you're just crazy. You're just a regular, normal kid. No one's even going to remember your name. And I was like, huh. That's interesting, because we never actually know Joker's real name. We don't even know if this is his actual name. I don't know, maybe one day they'll be like, stop calling me Jerome. I don't want to be called that. Heck, that's not even my name. It's just an alibi, or it's an alias. I don't know what my real name is. No one needs to know. I don't know. I just hope that they do something like where he starts calling himself the Joker, or maybe like the paper start calling him the Joker or something. And after this big bloody massacre, Jim walks into the GCPD, and Harvey comes back and joins him, and he's like, you know, we can't fight who we are. And basically Harvey and Jim are back together as teammates, or they're back together as a team, and the new commissioner is unfortunately dead. And I'm wondering, is Jim going to be the commissioner now? I mean, I know that it's too early. I mean, we're only in the second season, but I mean, they don't have a commissioner anymore. And I'm wondering if this is when Jim is going to take over. I mean, for all we know, he could take over. I mean, but it's too early. This is only the second episode. If he does become commissioner, I don't think he would at least be commissioner until like maybe the beginning of the third season or something. But, Alfred pretty much comes to Bruce and tells him everything that happened after we actually get some interesting time with Lucius Fox and Bruce, and he talks about how his father was secretive, but he had to be. He always trusted his father, and he wishes that he had told him about how much more he appreciated him than he got to. And he's basically talking about like what Bruce's dad was like, and I have a feeling that this is going to be a good relationship between Bruce and Lucius Fox. And, you know, they have to introduce him somehow, and they did near the end of the first season, about like, because Lucius Fox, I think, is the guy who always designs and builds Wayne's technology. And so I think it's pretty good about how, like, we were told, like, what Lucius Fox did for Bruce's father, like how he would, like, repair things and stuff. So he's like, can you fix his computer? And he's like, I mean, I can, but it's going to take some time. Which I don't have a problem with that. Hey, build that through the whole season. Make that the big thing at the end of the season, is what they show what is on Bruce's dad's computer. Show us near the end of the season or the mid-season finale what is on Thomas Wayne's computer. And so we get the end of the episode is pretty much they show on TV that Joker left a message and pretty much says, "You're all just prisoners." Oh, you think this is it? Oh, you'll be seeing plenty more from us. And when he's laughing earlier on in the episode, this guy's like, he's trying to, he tells the criminals like stagecraft. He's trying to teach them how to be actors, and he each gives them a chance to say, "Good evening, ladies and gentlemen." And Joker does a phenomenal job, and then he starts laughing. He's like, "Good laugh. You keep that. That's great, and that's creepy." It's like, yes, it is. All in all, this episode was great. I'm gonna go take a breather now because my gosh, my heart is jumping in my chest. Guys, put in the comments below, what did you think of this episode? This is only the second episode. If it's this good, I cannot wait to see what's going to happen through the rest of the season. I am so excited. I hope you all are too. Hit that like button and share this video. Share what you think of this, please. I want to know. The Joker is awesome as a kid. Have a good day, guys. My gosh.